Hey guys, Tom here, and today I've got some more huge WWE 2K17 news. On Friday I brought you a massive video about new features, and today I'm bringing you a massive video about gameplay improvements in this year's WWE 2K17 game. There's loads of improvements. Let's have a talk about them. So the first big improvement in this year's game is that you can only set up the ladder in 6 specific locations. So in previous games you could set up the ladder wherever you wanted, but the big problem with that was, how many times did you fanny around trying to get the ladder in a correct position, only to find out it was just too far away from the briefcase, too far away from the title? You just spent so long fannying around with the ladder trying to get it into the correct position. But in this year's game, there's only 6 specific locations you can set the ladder up. So those locations are the 4 corners of the ring. You can set up the ladder in any of those corners. The other position you can set the ladder up in is in the middle of the ring. So no more will you be fanning around trying to get it into the specific position for the briefcase. There will only be one position you can set the ladder up in the middle of the ring. And you may ask, what is the other position? Now there's a new feature in this year's game where you can set up the ladder between the barricade and the ring apron. So you can create a bridge between the barricade and the ring. So the possibilities are endless. You could do so many things with this. I'm really excited about this new feature. So what do you guys think about the fact that you can't actually put the ladder where you want it now? There's only 6 specific areas you can place the ladder. I think it's a good idea. I'm sick of just messing around with the ladder, it not doing what I want it to do. So yeah, I think this is a good improvement, and I think the possibilities are endless with this thing where you can put the ladder between the barricade and the ring apron. One of the things I hated about previous games, which hasn't been improved for this year's game, is the fact that even though you took loads of damage, you could still win matches, and it just didn't really feel like the damage you were taking affected your character. Now in this year's game today, they have announced a roll out feature where if you get injured or take a lot of damage during a match, your character, your model, will automatically roll out of the ring so they can recover from the damage they have just taken. I think this really improves the realism of the game, and honestly, when you took all the damage in matches, it didn't really feel like you were losing the match, you were losing the momentum in the match. It always felt like you could always come back, but apparently in this year's game you will automatically roll out of the ring and you will recover from the damage you have just taken. I think this sounds like a really good feature. This means that you're going to really have to keep an eye on what kind of damage you are taking during your matches and making sure that you don't get damaged too much, or you're going to automatically have to roll out the ring and possibly end up losing a title match. If it's a 6-man ladder match, you're going to have to make sure that you're within the grasp of the title. I mean, the match could potentially throw you out the ring. You could be out of the ring, damaged and recovering, whilst another person is climbing at the top of the ladder and taking that title that you really wanted. This also means that, you know, during those triple threat matches where you just can't bloody win the match, you try and pin an opponent and the other person always breaks it up. Now, according to this, you can damage an opponent, throw them out the ring, and they will spend a good minute trying to recover from that damage. So when you injure somebody, they are actually injured, and they won't just break up your pin in a triple threat match all the time and get really annoying. It sounds like a good idea to me. One of the most interesting new features and new gameplay news we've got today is about the Backstage Brawls. Apparently there are 3 backstage areas you can have a match in, and apparently these matches, you win them by KOing your opponent. But the most interesting thing about these Backstage Brawls is, if you are in a no DQ match, you and your opponent can actually end up fighting through the arena and actually end up backstage fighting during the no DQ match. How exciting is that? And then also other important feature discovered today and announced today is that there are oh my god moments during these Backstage Brawls. They have also improved the taunting in WWE 2K17. Apparently when you do specific taunts, they will actually increase the amount of damage you can do to your opponent for a short amount of time. So if you do this, it may increase the damage you can temporarily do to your opponent. And along with doing a temporary boost in damage, apparently you can also get a temporary boost in momentum. So if you do that, and you get a boost in momentum, you will get your finisher in no time. Major reversals were an addition to WWE 2K16, and a major reversal turned the tides of a match very, very quickly. But in this year's game, the timing has been improved a lot more, because in last year's game, it was pretty hard to hit those major reversals. But in this year's game, the timing has been improved that much that it's a lot easier to hit those major reversals in this year's game. And apparently when you do hit these major reversals in this year's game, it will temporarily halt the possibility of your opponent being able to hit a reversal. So if you hit that major reversal on your opponent, they won't be able to hit their own reversal for a while. Now, one of the most annoying things about previous games like WWE 2K16 and 2K15 was the chain wrestling, and every time you started a match, you always started it with the boring chain wrestling rock, paper, scissors game mode. Now, apparently, that is no more. The chain wrestling will not automatically start at the start of the game. It will randomly come about during the matches, but it won't be the standalone thing which starts a match. Also, the last thing I'm reporting today is improvements in the submission system. Apparently, that little square that you have to control in the circle when you're submitting your opponent is a lot easier to control in this year's game. And if you're like me, you don't really like that system, you can change it. Apparently, in the options, you can actually change it to a button mashing system where whoever taps the button the fastest will either submit their opponent or be able to escape the submission. So that's it for today's video. Smash that like button for more WWE 2K17 videos. Thanks for watching, take care, spike your hair.